Land of Snow. Naruto rams his boot heel into the left eye of one. Kazahana, soon to be former daimyo of the Land of Snow. Behind the pair were Naruto's queens feeding on the remains of Dot's guards, with one on her knees in complete and abject fear shining in her green eyes. Monster. Hisses, struggling to force Naruto's boot off his face. Naruto smirks and turns into a pirouette on Dot's face, causing the man to scream in pain and clutch his destroyed face as Naruto backflips away. The blonde lands with a perfect 10 stance with his arms up, shifting his gaze to Dot's last guard. He has a pale tone, a thin and bony face, teal eyes and a narrow nose. He also has a Hapuri-style Hittite with long purple hair and long a ponytail running down his back, along with a long, thin strand of purple hair hanging over the right side of his face. Damn you, the man hisses. Naruto grins with a callous smile on his face as his Colt forms in his right hand. Now Nadara Roga. No need to get angry with me, he says, firing a shot into Dot's right leg. Dot screams and falls to one knee with his cut-up face on display, but Naruto puts one between his eyes and he crumples. Yu-Gi-Oh, bring me Fubuki, Naruto says, slipping the Colt into his back waist. Yu-Gi-Oh pulls Fubuki to her feet as blood covers her mouth and chest armor, while the pink hair snow ninja shakes in fear. Nadara glares at Naruto heatedly, but the wooden vines keep him rooted to the ground. His gaze sparing a glance to Mizor's corpse, with Anko currently devouring his corpse as some sort of snake creature. Now before you die, Nadara Roga. You will witness firsthand your fate, Naruto says, slowly holding out his hand to Fubuki. The blonde vampire's blue eyes glow and Fubuki's green eyes glaze over, as she slowly takes his hand and he spins her around to face Nadara. Naruto rips open the neck and shoulder of Fubuki's uniform to expose her neck as his right hand grasps her under her chin. Naruto covers Fubuki's mouth as he bites into her neck, causing her scream in pain as he drinks her life away. Fubuki's eyes flutter in pain and slowly glaze over as she falls from Naruto's grasp and hits the floor with a blank look on her face. Well, she died with a little pleasure. You won't get that, Naruto says, walking towards Nadara. He glares at the blonde but spits at his feet and Naruto pulls his Colt out, placing it to Nadara's head. Go and protect you, Master in Hell, Naruto says, blowing Nadara's head open. Numerous hungry tendrils burst from Naruto's body towards the corpses of Fubuki and Dot, dragging both towards his breaking down body. The Ice Queens watch in fascination as Naruto absorbs all three bodies. I'll never get used to see that, Hana says, and the other nods. My clones have dealt with the rest of Dot's forces, Naruto says, standing to his full height and rolls his neck. Now the princess has her kingdom back, Anko says. And all it took was a genjutsu of us and her broken, violated and killed, Hana comments. Naruto shrugs his shoulders with the light of a cigarette. Just imagine if Gramps assigned a genin team, he says. None of them are ready. Guy's team may be Kurenai muses. And that is pushing it. Kakashi-senpai may have pushed for it, if not for Ne getting to her first Yu-Gi-Oh states. Regardless, we're done here and Lady Koyuki has her home returned. So let's go get the wayward princess, Naruto says, and all of them nod. A week later, Naruto and his queens were standing in front of Koyuki Kazahana, rightful daimyo of Snow Country but now renamed Spring Country. The treasure Koyuki kept safe, that her uncle coveted, was actually a key to heat generator. The generator, a final gift from her late father Sasetsu Kazahana, to bring spring to their frigid homeland. Thank you for putting Koyuki-sama back on her rightful throne, says Sandae-sama, her faithful guard. Koyuki nods slightly to the five with a slight blush towards Naruto. Yes, thank you. You managed to awaken my frozen heart, she says. Think nothing of it, Koyuki. We all hope for someone to save us, Naruto says. Sandae approaches and hands Naruto a scroll. Inside is a document about a possible trade agreement with Konoha, he says, and Naruto bows at the waist. You are most kind. We will see ourselves out, Naruto says, bowing again at the waist with his queens. Must you leave so soon, Koyuki asks. Unfortunately, yes. We all have obligations in Konoha that require our attention. However, we will be having our Chunin exams in about 2 months. Perhaps you can come for the finals a month later, Naruto says. I will think about it again. Thank you for saving my country, Koyuki says, and the five excuse themselves. She'll be a good ally for us and place to hide if needed, Kurenai says, once they leave the palace. Always best to have contingencies, Naruto muses, as they head towards the harbor. Victoria was waiting for them with one of Gato's old ships. We are ready to depart, she says, wearing a purple business attire and a ruby necklace around her neck under a black coat. Good, and have the captain set a course to hot water, Naruto says, as they board and Victoria bows. Well, that was a productive mission, Anko muses. Naruto plops on the large bed in their private room. Indeed. I learned more Hyoten Jutsu and you all gained more souls, he says, his clothes melting away to a pair of shorts and a white long-sleeve shirt. The four queens strip away their clothes in a similar fashion and climb into bed with their man. Should we fool around before sleeping? Anko Kus, settling atop the blonde. Sleep first. All the swaying is annoying, Naruto says, and Anko pouts but settles on his mid-chest. Yu-Gi-Oh takes Naruto's left arm and Kurenai takes the right, while Hana shifts to his waist above his manhood. A clone pops to life and seals the room to allow them sleep, also to give orders to the crew and Victoria Kanahagakure, Lime start. Tenten sighs softly as she lays on a bed with no sheets, her fit and nude body on display as she touches herself. Her calloused but nimble left fingers running down her toned waist to her maidenhood, while her right hand kneads her modest B-cut breasts. The weapons mistress opened her eyes but her gaze drifts left to see a woman with long black hair but couldn't see her face. The woman moves closer and kisses Tenten on the lips, which she gives into as she was a burgeoning bisexual. Tenten feels her head move to another woman but she has black hair with a bluish tint, however again she couldn't see their full face. Ah, Tenten cries, as someone was licking her sacred area and she looks down to a third woman with long purple hair but soon a fourth faceless woman with brown hair joins. Tenten moans with eyes closed as the four women molest her form but she opens them to see a pair of blue eyes, however everything goes white and Tenten awakes with a start scene break, Lime end. Tenten looks around with unfocused eyes. What was that? Those women. Why couldn't I see their faces, she whispers, moving her sheets and finding her panties soiled. Cold shower then a workout, Tenten thought. The weapons mistress makes a few laps around the village after a shower but her mind was plagued by her dream. Oh, good morning, Tenten, a very familiar voice shouts. Tenten turns to run backwards slight to see Guy and Lee. Morning, she shouts, as the pair pass her. Tenten finishes her workout and heads back home, finding her adopted parents up and about. Early morning tension, her mom Natsuko asks. She has dark hair and eyes with a modest figure. Yeah, I couldn't sleep. So I did a few laps around the village, Tenten says, glancing to her dad Genbo. He's an imposing man with gray hair and blue eyes but teddy bear at heart. Something wrong, Tenten, Genbo asks but she shakes her head. Nothing. Just thinking, am I doing enough for the exams, Tenten says. Her team was taijutsu oriented due to Lee's lack of chakra and Niji's reliance on his family's taijutsu. She herself was oriented to weapons and neglected other facets of ninja skills, say funjutsu for her weapons. I'm sure you will do alright. However, you don't have to rush to be promoted. I still remember seeing you after that horrible mission. Thank Kami for the Anbu, Natsuko says, and Tenten remembers that mission to Frost. Her team was ambushed by missing Nin from Kumo and Niji flew into a rage, compromising the mission but luckily Naruto swooped in and saved them, or namely her. Tenten's breath slight hitches, those blue eyes were like Naruto's. Did I have a wet dream about him, she thought. Ten-chan, you're all red. Are you sure you're okay, Natsuko asks and Tenten waves her hands. And no, I'm alright. I'm gonna take a nap and meet my team later, Tenten says and quickly excuses herself. Maybe I should go see Naruto, Tenten thought, going for a nap. A few hours later, Tenten stands with her team, Lee spouting about youth with Guy and Niji standing with his eyes closed. Tenten admitted to herself she had a small crush on the Hyuga clan member but his obsession with fate soured any and all chances. He hates Hinata for being in main family but still bows to her. He claims fate cannot be changed but he does by hating her and wanting to harm her, Tenten thought. Training for Team 3 was the same each time as she trained with her weapons, while Guy trained taijutsu with Niji and Lee. Guy-sensei. I wonder if you could teach me some ninjutsu, Tenten asks and Guy cups his chin. Well, my youthful student. I do not rely on ninjutsu and that wouldn't be fair to Lee. Who can't? Perhaps you can visit my rival, Guy says. Tenten slowly nods but internally she was angry. I think I will, Guy-sensei. Do you know where he is, she says. Training ground 7 with his team, Guy replies and Tenten excuses herself. The bun hair Kunoichi makes her way to training ground 7 and finds team 7. What are you doing here, Tenten, Hinata asks. Doing some juken katas. I'm looking for Kakashi-sensei. Guy-sensei sent me to see if he would teach me some ninjutsu, Tenten explains. Why should Kakashi teach someone from another team, Sasuke says. Aren't we all Konoha ninja, Karin says, balancing on one of the wooden stumps. Maa. I don't see why not, but with the Chunin exams in 2 months. I would hate to give an advantage to another team, Kakashi says, reading his icha and Tenten frowns. How about me then, Naruto says, walking up. Tenten glances back to Naruto and her cheeks become a little pink. Well, I don't see why not. Will that work? Naruto is ninjutsu heavy due to his reserves, Kakashi says. Sure, that is fine. Thank you, Kakashi-sensei, Tenten says, and Kakashi gives her his trademarked eye smile. Follow me then, Naruto says, and Tenten quickly follows the blonde. So what brought this on, he asks. I wanna be more prepared for the exams. I think I'm too over-specialized, Tenten replies, as they find an empty training ground. Naruto pulls a piece of chakra paper from his vest. First we need to know your elemental affinity. Just channels some chakra into this paper, he says, handing it to Tenten. She channels her chakra and the paper wrinkles to signify a lightning nature. Raiden, Tenten says. Interesting. You can channel Raiden through ninja wire or your weapons, Naruto says, going to a tree and kicks it to knock some leaves down. So how does this work, Tenten asks. Naruto hands Tenten the leaves, but hold up one. You must be able to crinkle leaf with you chakra by changing it to Raiden, he says, and splits the leaf with his futon. Easier said than done, Tenten says, and Naruto adjusts his sunglasses. You may be able to learn a jutsu by the time exams start. I'll check on you once a week and see how you do, okay, Naruto says. Right. Thanks, Naruto, Tenten says, and excuses herself to meet back up with her team. Once Tenten was gone, Yugeo drops down in her full Anbu gear. Dragon has called a meeting, she says. Naruto slips off his sunglasses and they shift into his Anbu mask. Let's be on our way, Neko, he says, slipping it on, and both vanishing scene break. Anbu HQ. As you all know, the Chunin exams are in 2 months, which means increased patrols with the influx of visitors, and foreign ninja dragon starts, sitting with several of her captains. However, one of you will have very unique role for the exams. Namely Yukayu Ketsuki. Sandaime-sama wants you be the proctor for the second round preliminaries if necessary. Also his guard for the finals as well, Dragon adds. Naruto remains silent with his arms folded and his hood hiding his face. On your order, he says, his voice distorted. What if there aren't any preliminaries, Rhino asks. Then he'll do my paperwork. If they happen. You're doing it, Rhino, Dragon says, causing a few silent sniggers. I heard Senpai will enter his rookie team. Yuhi and Sarutobi are doing the same, Neko says. They want to show off the last, Uchiha Kuma states, his large arms folded. Of course. Home turf. The padding of our teams will help him pass to the second round, Owl comments. Regardless. It's our job to protect the great tree. Dismissed, Dragon states, and the captains file out of the room. Kayuketsuki, Rhino says, and Naruto stops to turn to him. No hard feelings on doing Dragon's work, Rhino says, but Naruto smirks behind his mask. Right, but you should know, Rhino. Never bet against me, Naruto says, and vanishes, with Leaf Shunshin. Dragon taps Rhino on the shoulder with a smirk behind their mask. Make sure your handwriting is perfect, Dragon says, and Rhino freezes. Dragon reaches their office and finds Naruto waiting for them. You have your orders. What, you don't like them, Dragon says. No. It's just you're picking on Rhino. I almost feel bad, Naruto says, and Dragon snorts. I hear the pervert is coming soon, Dragon says, taking a seat at their desk. He has no idea about my changes or that I'm in Anbu. Gramps felt best not to tell him, Naruto muses, slipping a cigarette into his mouth and light it with a silver Zippo. He more than likely believes you are a newly minted genin in need of his teachings. However, you are a near S rank shinobi and engaged to 4 women, Dragon comments. True, Naruto muses and pulls 2 photos out of his coat, tossing them to Dragon. Dragon's breath hitches at the photo of man with spiky orange hair, his eyes purple with a rippled pattern. The second photo is of a woman with blue hair and amber eyes, along several piercings with a flower in her hair. How accurate is this, Dragon asks. Confirmed. Hanzo no longer rules AIM but a man called Pine. Danzo had dealings with the salamander but went dark years ago. Ne reported that the rain in the village is laden with chakra. So I sent Clonus in their place. The rain stops once a week on Sundays. So I took advantage and sent them in. Naruto starts. The woman is called Conan or Lady Angel. The man is called Pine. What is interesting is the cloak. Looks familiar, Naruto adds. Akatsuki. I've heard rumors about some group wearing those colors, Dragon states. We'll have speak to our vaunted spy master, Naruto says, rising to his feet. True. So how'd you get the photos, Dragon asks. Once the clone is popped, I used the henge, Naruto says, leaving Dragon's office. Over the next 2 months, Naruto split time helping his team in Tenten. Karin used her Kage Bunshin to learn a few Daten Jutsu, while Tenten managed to finish her Raiden training and learned to channel Raiden through her weapons. Naruto also learned that his queens were affecting Tenten's dreams and driving the girl to him, which he didn't mind and allowed at Chunin Exams Road 1, 2 months later. Team 7 make their way to Konoha Academy with the redhead looking between her teammates. They enter the school and see the various teams milling about and making their ways upstairs to the third floor. However, a scene was being made on the second floor but marked third, as several people were arguing with two people about being let in. Jinjutsu Karin whispers to Hinata and the Hyuga heiress nods. Hey, take down that stupid Jinjutsu, Sasuke shouts, shocking his teammates. Several of the genin grumble as the 3 becomes a 2 and they make their way up to the next floor. Team 7 reaches the third floor and finds Kakashi waiting for them. Well, now you can officially begin the Chunin exams. These exams are team-based and if any of the 3 you didn't come, you would have been prohibited, Kakashi says. Now then, Hinata, Sasuke, Karin. Good luck, Kakashi adds and steps aside, allowing the members of Team 7 to enter the exam hall. They seemed poised, a voice says, and Kakashi looks up to see Naruto slinking out of the ceiling. You didn't have any parting words for them, Kakashi says. Naruto tilts his head but his face was hidden by his Anbu mask, nothing that would help them. Besides, Sasuke believes this is easy if a dope like me can pass, he says, his voicing fading as he slinks back. Kakashi looks back at the closed door. If you still believe that, Sasuke, then you are in for a rude awakening, he thought. Inside, Team 7 were looking at the assembled genin as many were loitering about, causing Karin to sigh and calm herself from the key being thrown around. Sasuke-kun, 2 voices shout and Karin sees Ino glomping Sasuke, with Sakura glaring at her. Karin decides to ignore the fangirls to look around the room and sees Team 3 near a corner, before approaching them. What do you want, Niji says, coldly. Leave her alone, Tenten says, and Karin shoots him a glare. So is your team ready, Tenten adds. As we can be. Kakashi-sensei gave us 3 days of rest but Naruto only gave me 1, Karin says, and Tenten blushes slightly. How is Naruto? I haven't seen him lately, Tenten says, to the shock of her teammates. Karin was about to reply when a fight broke out between someone in glasses and the genin from Udo. However, a large puff of smoke erupts at the front of the room. Enough. No fighting before the second round. Calm down or be kicked, a man says. He has several scars on his face with a blue bandana, wearing a gray uniform and black trench coat. Sorry, we got a little excited, one says, his face bandaged. He wears a large poncho with long sleeves, a snake-patterned scarf around his neck, a straw raincoat protruding from the back of his scarf, and a large amplifier on his right arm. Whatever. Now everyone take a seat. My name is Ibuki Morino and I am the proctor for the first round of the Chunin exams, the man declares, as 12 similarly dressed ninjas stand behind but with no coats. All right, now that I have your attention, everyone take a number and go to your assigned seat. Then we'll pass out the tests, Ibuki states, holding a number 1 scene break. The sound of electric guitar echoes near the main gate of Forest of Death, the source being Naruto on a raised platform with a haunting solo. Anko was also sitting on the platform with a dango stick in her mouth and her body swaying to the tune. She's wearing black, form-fitting pants with heeled kunoichi boots to her knees, along with shin guards. A tight purple dress shirt with a low-cut corset vest, that pushes up her breasts, and a gray trench coat draped on her shoulders with black gloves. How's the first round going? Naruto asks. Anko covers her right eye to look at the room from one of her snakes. Going well. The rookies are still there. Oh, Ibuki's almost done. I better go, she says and vanishes. Naruto sighs and absorbs the guitar into his body with a sigh. I better go too, he says and explodes into a murder of crows. Back in the academy, Ibuki looks over the remaining genin but feels the room starting to chill. Ho. She's early, he thought. Hey, why is it getting cold? Kiba shouts, as Akamaru starts to whimper. The room lights start to dim and the room darkens, shocking many of the genin as Ki fills the room. Ibuki. You let 26 teams pass, a voice croons, seemingly from everywhere. Several screams erupt as snakes start to make their presence known. What are snakes doing here? Sakura screams. Kabuto adjusts his glasses with a hidden serious look. Anko Materashi isn't capable of such things, he thought. Don't worry though. I'll make sure to cut that number by at least half, the voice says. The snakes start to swirl and undulate together until they take a human shape but fall to the ground to die as Anko appears, her eyes a glowing purple and the whites of her eyes a black void. Hello, foolish mortals, Anko croons. Many of the genin were immediately put off as fear seems to run rampant, but suddenly everything returns to normal with Anko standing in front. I'm Anko Materashi. Period. The Chunin exam's second round proctor. Now follow me to my playground, Anko says. Where the hell is your playground? One genin shouts and Anko grins wide. The Forest of Death, Anko says. About half-hour later the genin were standing at the main gate of the Forest of Death. This is where the second round will take place. The 44th training ground or my playground, the Forest of Death. Anko starts and reaches in her coat. Now before we begin, I'll need to pass out these consent forms and you will sign them. This absolves our respective villages in case of death. The second round consists of a 5-day survival mission. Anko continues. Survival Ino states. Anko reaches back into her coat to pull out 2 scrolls, one marked heaven and the other marked earth. The Forest of Death is made of 44 locked gates with a river and a tower in the center approximately 10 kilometers away. Each team will receive one of these scrolls. Your goal is to reach the center tower with both scrolls within the 5 days. How you get them is up to you, Anko explains. That doesn't seem so tough, Kiba shouts, but his cheek opens up as Anko appears behind. The snake mistress licks some blood from Kiba's cheek and frightens the brother of her harem sister. I would beg to differ. Your blood is nearly as tasty as your sister's, Anko says, before walking back to the main gate. Now, there are some rules for this round. Bring both scrolls to the center tower and do not open the scrolls before you arrive. Lastly, you will need all your teammates to pass. So even if you get both scrolls, without your teammates you fail, Anko states. What about food? Chaji shouts. Tough. There is plenty to eat. Now sign your forms and come get your scrolls, Anko replies. The genin talk amongst themselves, but unbeknownst to them a certain blonde vampire was watching. They seem to know the rules, but so do I, he thought. Shifting his gaze to redhead with raken-like eyes. Grr. That's Shukaku's host. Those bags under his eyes are a dead giveaway, Kyubi comments. Gara no Sabaku. Son of the Yondaime Kezakage, Naruto muses but smirks, seeing Gara look in his general direction. He must sense you, Kyubi, Naruto says, and Kyubi snorts. Like that Tanuki compares to me, let alone you, Kyubi says. Ah, so you do think about me, Naruto says and smiles, seeing Karin looking directly at him. I'll need keep my distance, but I'll be shadowing them, Naruto thought, keeping gaze on a member of the Kyusa team. Soon each team have their respective scroll and line up at the respective gates. Team 7 finds themselves at gate 12. You better keep your senses honed, Uzumaki Sasuke says. I will also have my Byakugan, Hinata comments. One of the proctors unlocks the gate and checks his watch as the time ticks by, but the horns blare. Each team quickly rushes inside as the gates shoot open as the second round begins. Scene break. Screams soon fill the forest as the second round begins in earnest, but at the same time Anko sits under the shade of the booth near the main gate. Music to my slow beating heart, Anko thought. Oi Materashi, a voice shouts, and Anko opens her eyes to see Kotetsu. What, I'm trying for a nap here, Anko shouts. We got 3 bodies, Kotetsu says, and Anko furrows her brow. There is something odd about them, he adds. Anko sighs and rises to her feet to slip on her coat. Lead the way, she says, following Kotetsu. The pair soon near 3 bodies near some Buddha statues. According to the rids there are from Kyusa, but as you can the faces are missing, Izumo says. Anko tsks in a silent growl with narrow eyes as the white of her eyes bleed black. This is serious. Inform Lord Third. Also inform him to mobilize at least 2 Anbu squads. Go, she shouts, and both vanish. Naruto. Orochimaru is in the forest. He's impersonating a Kyusa team, Anko thought. I thought as much. I'll play with him for a little while, Naruto replies, and Anko smirks. Happy hunting, my fox, Anko says. Music Orochimaru fight theme. Sasuke glares heatedly at the Kyusa ninja named Shire with his Sharingan glowing in the shadows. I still need to kill him. I will not die here, he thought, slipping a kunai in his mouth. Shire licks his lips with a wide grin, his gaze slightly shifting to Hinata as the Hyuga tries to recover from his ki blast. Has your Uchiha blood awakened, Sasuke-kun? Shire sneers. Sasuke shoots across the branches towards Shire into a leap as the Kyusa ninja sends a burst of chakra. Sasuke counters with several kunai, but Shire dodges as Sasuke maneuvers to a branch, launching off with a battle cry. The last loyal Uchiha sends a flurry of punches and kicks, but Shire blocks evenly and Sasuke keeps up. I can see, Sasuke thought, dodging and countering Shire's attacks. Shire picks up his speed, but Sasuke keeps up and counters with back-to-back fireballs, forcing Shire to change tactics and come at Sasuke through the tree branch. He's pretty good, Shire thought, sending another burst of chakra. Sasuke dodges as it tears through a large branch and closes the gap, grabbing Shire from behind into a plummeting piledriver. Sasuke quickly leaps back as Shire stays rooted in place, but he gasps as Shire melts into mud. Kairimi, Sasuke thought, and quickly has to dodge a flurry of kunai. Sasuke uses ninja wire to propel himself around a large tree, but Shire catches him as he lands with a combination of punches, knees and elbows. Sasuke tosses a paper bomb to distract Shire as he leaps back, tossing shuriken with ninja wire attached. This is, Shire says. Sasuke yanks hard and pins Shire to a tree as he flashes signs to stop at Tiger. Kaiten Ryuken no Jutsu, Sasuke shouts. The flames engulf Shire as he screams in agony, with the flames blowing a hole into the large tree. The flames die down as Sasuke tries to rein in his breath as Hinata slowly nears him, but both of them gasps as Shire easily breaks the wire, before using a paralysis jutsu on them. I'm impressed by your Sharingan use, but it pales in front of your brother. Sasuke-kun, Shire says, part of his face melted away and reveal pale white skin. Sasuke struggles to move as Shire touches his Hitate to reveal a musical note instead of the Kyusa symbol. However, you can be so much more than him, he says, his voice changing. Who are you? Sasuke says. Shire holds up their heaven scroll. My name is Orochimaru, he says, but suddenly his neck extends like a snake. Hinata gasps as Sasuke screams in pain from Shire or Orochimaru's bite on his neck. Seek me out for more power, Sasuke-kun, Orochimaru says, after unlatching and drops the scroll on the ground. Do enjoy my gift, Orochimaru adds, sinking into the ground. Hinata activates her Byakugan and scans the area as she retrieves their scroll. Where are you, Karin? She thought, checking on Sasuke. Song ends, scene break. At the same time, Sasuke and Hinata were fighting for their lives. Karin was dealing with another team of genin from Konoha. Can we take her? One says. He has brown hair and eyes, wearing casual clothes with a weapons pouch. Karin quickly makes fives clonus and they charge to the genin. They're just illusions, the Kunoichi says, having brown hair and gray eyes. Karin smirks as the clonus kick each gen in the face as she flashes several signs, stopping at hair. Sutan Mizurappa, Karin intones, firing a water blast and knocking out the genin. Karin quickly leaps away to search for her teammates, but she freezes as a thick blanket of ki rocks. Kyukyuku, a voice says. Karin slowly turns to Orochimaru standing behind her. Who are you? She says. Orochimaru licks his lips with a smirk on his face, but suddenly his head launches from a wide sword swipe, causing Karin to gasp as Naruto lands in front of her, but Orochimaru turns to snakes. Go, Karin, Naruto says, and the redhead leaps away. Naruto rolls his neck as Orochimaru appears again and stares back at him. Hello, Naruto-kun, he says. Kind of cowardly to run away from me, Snake. No matter. We'll see each other soon. Oh, one more thing. Anko says hello and she looks forward to when I mount you on my wall, Naruto says, and Orochimaru melts into mud. Naruto sheathes his Chikuto but glances back to see Karin. I'll told you to go, he says. I know, but I was worried, Karin says. Naruto ruffles his blonde hair and adjusts his Anbu mask. Come on. I'll take you to your team, he says, and both leap away. Naruto slowly as Karin keeps going. They're in the hollowed tree, he thought, but his eyes narrow, sensing three near them. Karin lands in the clearing and makes her way to the tree, seeing Sasuke laying motionless and sweating. Hinata, Karin says, and the heiress looks up. Where have you been? Hinata says, slight anger in her tone. Karin kneels next to Sasuke with a sigh, after being blown away about that wind. I encountered a giant bear and then another genin team. I managed to knock them out and got their scroll, she explains, showing the earth scroll. Good, at least you were good for something. We were attacked by someone called Orochimaru and he marks Sasuke with something, Hinata explains and misses the frown from Karin. We'll stay here until the morning and make for the tower, Hinata states. What about Sasuke? Karin says, checking his vitals. Hinata looks down at the last Uchiha. He's starting to stabilize. He should awaken by then, she says, and Karin slowly nods. Scene break. Next morning. Team Dosu, led by Dosu with his teammates Zaku, Abumi and Kintsuchi, were keeping a close eye on the hollowed tree for Team 7. When are we gonna strike? I want to get my hands on that redhead, Zaku says. He has spiky, black hair and dark eyes with a beige shirt having 2 black stripes, and 3 prints of the kanji for death. A hapuri hitate under the cloth rather than connected to the metal plate, with a snake patterned scarf around his neck. Maybe we can sell the Hyuga's eyes, Kin says. She has fair skin, black eyes with very long black hair, tied by a violet ribbon right near the end. A pale green vest similar to a flak jacket, snake pattern pants, skirt over it, and a snake pattern scarf around her neck. Those are interesting thoughts. However, I can't allow that to happen, a voice croons. All 3 auto ninja freeze, but before they could react, black roots and snare them around their limbs. What the fuck is this? Zaku shouts but screams as his right arm is snapped in 2. This is for your thoughts on my family. Now instead of killing you 3, I'll give a bit of advice. The one you were sent to kill has the curse mark, the voice hisses and Dosu's breath hitches. Kin looks around in fear but her eyes widen as a glowing eye emerges in the shadows of the bark, along with a white mask with only one eye visible. Why would Orochimaru-sama not tell us? Kin says. Frankly, I do not care. Now run along before I decide to devour your souls, the voice hisses, as mouths open among the shadows. The roots release them and Dosu looks with a wide eye. Let's go, he says. What? Are we gonna let some voice keep us from killing this? Sasuke Zaku shouts, clutching his broken arm. Dosu narrows his eye at Zaku. Fool. Your arm is busted and the Uchiha has the curse mark. We can't fight that. For now we'll fall back and inform Orochimaru-sama about this mystery entity, he says. Zaku tsks with a silent growl and vows to kill whoever it was that broke his arm. Come on, Dosu says, and the three leap away. A few minutes pass and Naruto slowly emerges from the ground, just as dark chakra fills the area as Sasuke emerges from the hollowed tree. Well, let's see how he does. My clone should have hidden the others, Naruto says. Sasuke stands in the clearing with black markings running along his body and purple chakra wafting off his body. Yes, with this power I can kill him, he thought. Suddenly 3 nondescript genin from AIM appear in front of Sasuke. Hand over your scroll or die, one shouts. Sasuke continues to admire his power as one of them charges but locks eyes with Sasuke and freezes. Fool, Sasuke sneers, shooting forward and slitting his throat with a kunai. The other 2 quickly charge Sasuke but the Uchiha weaves several signs and stops at Tiger. Katen ga Kakyu no Jutsu, he shouts, incinerating both. Sasuke grins as he listens to their dying wails, but as quickly as it appeared, his new power faded and the dark markings recede. Sasuke falls to his knees with several gulping breaths. This power. I will make it mine, he thought, slowly getting to his feet and returning to the tree. However, Sasuke didn't notice the 3 corpses pop into smoke. He didn't even hesitate to kill them. The curse mark brings one's dark thoughts and gives them an intoxicating feeling as well, Naruto muses, standing on a high tree. 2 Anbu with the designation of Crane and Mantis land on each side of him. Reportee says. We lost track of the target, Crane says. He's a snake after all, Naruto muses, feeling his clonus memories. Takubetsu Jonin Materashi is heading to the tower as we speak and asked the Hokage to be advised, Mantis adds. Good, I will head there myself. Keep patrols tight and find out how the snake snuck into the garden, Naruto says, and both nod, vanishing. The pieces are starting to move, Naruto thought, vanishing as Karin and Hinata exit the tree to look around. Scene break. Anko sits on a blue sofa in one of the upper level rooms with 2 Anbu. It's distasteful but we can't cancel the exams on the account of Orochimaru, she says. What do you mean, one Anbu says. However, Anko could say anything. The door shoots open with one of the proctors from the first round. What is it? We're having a meeting, she shouts. Sorry ma'am, but you need to see this, the proctor says, holding a tape. Video, the second Anbu says. The proctor kneels and places the tape to play it for them, with it showing the Suna team entering the tower earlier. Look at the time, the proctor says. Anko narrows her eyes and her breath slightly hitches. This is accurate, she says. Yes. It was taken 1 hour and 37 minutes after the start of the round, the proctor says. Interesting. Period. They broke the record by 4 hours, Anko says. Yes, they finished the exams in 97 minutes. That's unheard of. They cannot be genin level, the proctor says, but Anko giggles. It's not just that. Take a good look at the redhead, Anko says, and the proctor looks closer, causing his eyes to widen in shock. Phew. You see now. He doesn't have a speck of damage or dirt on him, Anko says. We got quite an interesting fellow in the exams. Even though he has evil eyes, the second Anbu says. Anko makes her way to the large windows and opens it. Regardless. Continue your search for that snake, she says, and both Anbu vanish, followed by the proctor excusing himself. Anko moves from the window as a murder of crows bursts in and informs Naruto. No joy, she says. He ran, Naruto says, rolling his neck and plopping on the sofa. He gave Sasuke the curse mark though, Naruto says, and Anko's eyes narrow. It's different from yours, he adds. This is bad. We'll need to pull the Uchiha from the exams, Anko says. You know the old man won't. He's the last loyal Uchiha. If he's pulled, it'll look bad on Konoha's image. Besides, once Senpai sees it, he'll seal it up, Naruto explains, slipping off his coat. You wanna hear something interesting, Anko says, taking a seat next to him. Naruto shifts and lays his head in Anko's lap. The Suna team finished in 97 minutes. The redhead didn't have a scratch on him, Anko says. That was a foregone conclusion. He's the Jinchuriki of the Ichibi, Naruto says, and Anko's breath hitches, plus he's Orochimaru's linchpin, he adds. Anko frowns and strokes the shaved portion of Naruto's hair. I think we should tell the Hokage about the invasion, she says. No. This is Konoha's penance. Innocents will die, but it's time Konoha come off their high horse and the old man to see his actions brought this about, Naruto says, looking at the wall. Scene break. 3 days later. Karin stands with other Chunin hopeful as the Hokage speaks about the true meaning of the exams, while the proctors and Jonin of each team stand behind them. Perhaps I should explain the rules of the third round, a voice says, catching the Genin off guard. Hiruzen puffs his pipe and raises right arm even with his shoulder as Naruto lands in a crouch. Good ahead then, Hiruzen says. The Genin murmur amongst themselves as Naruto looks at them from the shadows of his beaked hood. He now wears a black dress uniform jacket, which features a red lining along the torso with the lower half of the coat forming two tails. Completing his outfit with black pants into knee-high leather boots, having a high heel and a blood-red dress shirt with a black tie, and suit vest. Naruto places his hands on Hiruzen's arm and lifts to balance, before leaning forward into the ground with his boots. Naruto reaches high and rams his hand into the shadows of his hood, to his elbow, and slowly pulls back. My name is Katsuki and I will be the proctor of these preliminaries, Naruto says. Revealing his pale white mask with no mouth or nose but the right eye covered by a black eye patch and left socket having a black tear streak. Preliminaries, Shikamaru questions. Yes. 21 of you passed, Naruto says and raises his index finger. That is too many of you for the third round, he adds and raises his middle finger. The finals take place in front of many important guests, as Lord Third said. I'm sure none of them would like sit through boring matches with weak people, Naruto continues and smirks, seeing some angered faces, and raises his ring finger. Now before we start, would any of you like to drop out, Naruto says. The Genin stand and look between each other but Kabuto raises his hand. I would like to drop out. My body is quite worn out, he says. Anko approaches with a clipboard and hands it to Naruto. Well, no wonder you've taken the exams 7 times. You're a fucking weakling, she sneers. Don't be rude to him. He is weak, yes, but a fellow Konoha ninja, Naruto says and looks over the remaining Genin. Anyone else wish to quit like that excuse of a ninja, he adds. Kabuto hides a dark glare on his face as he leaves the testing area. No matter your bloodline, I will kill you, he thought. Well, since all of you are smarter than Kabuto, we can now begin the preliminaries, Naruto says. Wait a second, Anko says and roughly turns Naruto's head, pulling down his hood to reveal black hair with a red streak. Anko then shocks everyone by moving Naruto's mask to face them and deeply kissing him in front of everyone. No fair, Anko Kurenai rages. What's stopping you? None of them know it's Naruto but Panda and Karin, Anko replies. Holy shit, Kankuro shouts. Teammate gasps as Kurenai moves from her spot among the Jonin and marches up to Naruto and Anko, pushing the latter aside and kisses Naruto herself. Kurenai-sensei, Kiba shouts. Hiruzen suddenly coughs loudly to get their attention. If you're quite finished. Katsuki, Anko, Kurenai. We would like to begin the preliminaries, he says, as Kakashi giggles and Asuma glares at Naruto. Anko places Naruto's mask back in place as he turns back to the group. Right. Now, unlike the first 2 rounds, these will be individual-based one-on-one matches. Since 20 remain, we will have 10 matches, he states, raising his right pinky, ring and middle fingers. You will fight until someone dies, collapses or gives up, but if the person gives up, the match is over regardless if you're going for the kill. Break that rule and pay the consequences, Naruto continues, dropping each finger. Naruto then holds up his clipboard. On here are the matches, picked at random by our Anbu. So I'll announce the first match. If you named isn't called, head to the upper area, he states. The tension slowly starts rise as Naruto keeps them waiting to sweat. The first match is Ino Yamanaka vs Sasuke Uchiha, he declares, shocking Ino and Sakura. Sasuke smirks internally but winces and grasps his neck. Easy win, he thought. Both of you step forward, Naruto declares, as the pair do so but Ino reluctantly. Everyone starts to make their way to the upper levels as Ino and Sasuke stand face to face but Kakashi whispers something to Sasuke. Both combatants ready, Naruto shouts. Wait, I forfeit, Ino says. Naruto locks his visible eye on Ino with a sigh. Why? Do you not want to be promoted? He went through the same forest as you. You could pull off the upset, he says. No way. I couldn't fight Sasuke-kun, Ino says and Naruto shakes his head. Fine, winner Sasuke Uchiha. You can both head to the upper levels. However, Yamanaka, you should give up entirely. You're a kunoichi of Konohagakure, you're not some pampered princess hoping for some boy to save you. I hope you watch the coming matches and see how real kunoichi battle, Naruto states and clears his throat, looking at his clipboard. The next match is Misumi Chiruji vs. Kankuro Sabaku. Naruto announces scene break. Konoha rookies. Why did you and that freaky proctor kiss that Anbu? Kiba says. Kurenai looks at her student and the other rookies as Sasuke was taken by Kakashi. He's my fiancé and I share him with Anko, she explains. Share him, Ino says, incredulously. Asuma silently scoffs and looks to the fight as Misumi attempts to snap Kankuro's neck. He's under the Kraor clan restoration. This allows a single male member to marry multiple women to repopulate his clan, he explains, and here's the snap. However, none of you know it is someone your age, Asuma thought. Tenten was listening but shifts her gaze to Naruto and her thoughts drift to her dreams lately. No way you would go for me then, she thought. Misumi gasps as clay pieces fall to the ground and Kankuro turns his head 360 degrees to reveal a puppet face. A puppet, Misumi shouts. The wrapped parcel writhes as the real Kankuro emerges as the wraps its arms around Misumi until he passes out. Winner Kankuro Sabaku, Naruto declares. Kankuro smirks and picks his puppet. I hope that impressed you, Proctor, he says, but Naruto ignores him. Mednin take Misumi as Naruto hears the rookies discussing Kankuro's skills. The next match is Shino Aburame vs Zaku Abumi, Naruto shouts. The pair make their way down as Zaku simply smirks but his face drifts to Naruto's mask, causing his breath to hitch. That's the same mask, Zaku thought, gnashing his teeth. Shino stands impassively as Zaku switches his gaze between him and Naruto. Both fighters ready. Begin, Naruto states, stepping back. You should retire given your injuries, Shino says. Zaku scoffs and raises his left arm with a smirk. I'm not as injured as you think, he shouts, pointing his left hand. Zankyuha, Zaku shouts, firing a concussive blast of sound airwaves. Shino is engulfed and thrown end over end until he comes to a halt face down, shocking his teammates and fellow Konoha genin, or some of them. However, as the smoke clears, Shino slowly rises to his feet with loud chittering noises. What, Zaku says, looking around. However, Zaku suddenly sees bugs emerging from points on Shino's body, bee-bugs. They're bursting from inside his body, he thought. Heh. What are you trying to pull? Zaku shouts but gasps and looks back to see more bugs coming from behind him. These insects are known as Kakachu. They attack en masse and devour chakra, and with this amount, your loss is guaranteed, Shino says, and Zaku gnashes his teeth. If you attack me with your left, my Kakachu attack you and vice versa as well, Shino says, and Zaku smirks, wrenching his right arm from his sling. Then how about I use both? Zaku shouts and points both arms at both Shino and his Kakachu. Hehe. He made you believe his right arm was useless and caught you off guard, Dosu thought. Zaku starts but his arms burst, at the forearms with blue chakra and shocking many watching. Zaku screams in pain but sees Kakachu in the holes in his palms. I managed to sneak some onto you, Shino says, appearing behind him. Zaku attempts to attack but Shino connects with a back fist to his face, sending him flying back to the ground. Naruto approaches and sees the serious damage to Zaku's arms. Zaku is unable to continue. Winner is Shino Aburame, he declares. Mednin come to pick up Zaku as Naruto listens to Guy explaining the Aburame clan to his students. Let's start the third match. It is Karin Uzumaki vs Sakura Hiruno, Naruto declares. Sakura looks around for Sasuke to watch but he was still gone with Kakashi, while Karin makes her way down. Hiruno, get down here or be disqualified, Naruto shouts. Sakura slowly comes down as Karin is waiting for her. I want Sasuke-kun to watch me, Sakura says. So you can't fight without him watching. Are you no different that Yamanaka? Are pretending to be a ninja? If you're not. Begin, Naruto says, and Sakura glares at him. She then turns her attention to Karin. I bet if I beat her, Sasuke-kun will praise me, Sakura thought, reaching into her pack. Sakura fires a dozen shuriken towards Karin but the redhead draws a kunai to block them, with the remains hitting her gloves but doing her no harm. Sakura quickly rushes Karin and creates 3 clones to confuse her, not remembering Karin was a very adept censor. Sutan Mizuam Nabara, Karin recites, after weaving signs and stopping at Tiger. Karin spews a viscous amount of water onto the ground and Sakura steps right into it, catching her left leg to knock her forward. What is this? Sakura screeches, catching herself with her right hand but trapping her more. Sakura-san, we were training together for a month during our mission. Yet you still didn't even bother to change, Karin says and appears behind Sakura with her hands outstretched. Suten Suro no Jutsu Karin says in the viscous water forms the water prison. Sakura struggles to hold her breath and quickly mouths her surrender, causing Karin to free her. Winner Karin Uzumaki Naruto declares scene break. Kakashi appears with a puff of smoke as Mednin helps Sakura from the arena floor. Oya Sakura Fadi says. Yeah, and she lost to Uzumaki. Asuma comments. She showed quite youthful skill, Guy states, and Kakashi glances his way. You say something, Guy. Kakashi say, and Guy box, muttering about hip attitude. The rookies were also conversing among themselves. Your teammate is skilled, Shino comments. We will see if we ever fight, Hinata states and glances to Niji, as he stares but looks away. She didn't even graduate with us. How is she that strong? Ino says. She was taught by her cousin, Tenten says, shocking some of them. Who's her cousin? Chaji asks. It's in her last name. Her cousin is Naruto, Shikamaru says. Kankuro walks up to their conversation. So who's this Naruto character, he asks, and Kiba scoffs. He was the dead last of our year but disappeared 3 years ago and reappears a few months ago as a Chunin, Kiba says. Somehow Ino says, chiming in. Naruto should be someone to strive for. Yes, he was the dead last but in 3 years improved enough to become a Chunin, Kurenai says, watching Naruto as the other proctors clean up Karin's jutsu. I bet I could beat him, Kiba says, and Akamaru barks, causing Kurenai to internally roll her eyes. Naruto would rip you apart, or Hana would do it for him, Kurenai thought. The next match is Tenten Higurashi vs Temari Sabaku. Naruto interjects. The pair slowly make their way down to the arena floor. Watch me, Naruto, Tenten thought. If that pink thing is any indication of Konoha Kunoichi, then I have nothing to worry about. Well, except for the Uzumaki or maybe the Hyuga, Temari thought, hand on her hip. Do your best, Tenten, Lee shouts, as Guy cheers with him. Alright, the next match begins, Naruto shouts. Tenten immediately widens the gap between them as Temari remains still. What? Are you planning to make a move after I do? However, it will be too late for you to counter. Unlike you girls playing Kunoichi, I am the real thing, Temari says, and Tenten glares. She quickly leaps and tosses a half-dozen shuriken, but Temari brushes them aside by unknown means. They missed. No. You use Futen, Tenten says, and Temari smirks. What if I do? Are you now scared? Temari says, in a mocking tone. Calm down and don't let her rattle you, Tenten thought, measuring the distance between them. Temari reaches for her fan, but Tenten suddenly races around her into a leap with a scroll unfurling around the bun hair. Kunoichi. Take this, Tenten shouts, as weapons burst from the scroll. Temari moves almost completely unseen by Tenten as she lands with weapons scattered around. No way, Tenten shouts. Temari holds her fan with a large purple circle visible. This is the first star. If you see the third star, then this match is over, she says. Don't give up, Tenten, Lee shouts. Tenten closes her eyes to calm down. I know that, Lee. I was saving this for the main fights, but I have no choice but to use it, she thought, pulling out 2 scrolls. Naruto watches Tenten place both scrolls on the ground with her palms on them. Temari is a bad opponent for you. Even using that coupled with your Raiden will fail, he thought. Sashoryu, Tenten shouts, creating a huge burst of smoke. The smoke rises to form 2 dragons, but the smoke dispels to reveal the scrolls as Tenten leaps upward. Tenten unleashes an inordinate amount weapons, but Temari counters, opening her fan to the second star with a full spin and creating a vortex of wind. Tenten lands with her weapons littering the ground, but she wasn't down as she backflips into the air with ninja string coming from her fingers to grasp her weapons. Raiden Rinsa Kaminari, Tenten shouts, sending Raiden through her strings and electrifying her weapons. Temari is momentarily shocked but smirks and swings her fan, knocking the weapons and Tenten away with her landing on the ground with a skid. That was mildly impressive but futile against me, Temari says, her fan now showing all 3 fans. Tenten gasps as Temari vanishes and looks around. I'm right here, Temari says, from behind her. Futen Kameidachi no Jutsu, Temari shouts, swinging her fan wide. Tenten gasps as she's hit by a vortex of wind that lifts her off the ground and cuts her from all sides. Tenten, Lee shouts. There is chakra embedded in that wind. Tenten won't be able to continue, Niji says. The wind dies down and Tenten falls towards the ground, only to land back first on Temari's closed fan, and it causes her to spit up blood. How boring. You can call it vampire, Temari says. Winner. Period. Temari Sabaku, Naruto announces, approaching the pair. Temari pushes Tenten off her fan, but Naruto catches her. You've shown Kunoichi should be feared, he says. Of course. Perhaps you'll show me what's under that mask, Temari asks. Naruto turns on his heels to hand Tenten over to the Mednin. Sorry, little squirrel. Only those who share my bed get to see my face, he says, and Temari scoffs, returning to the upper levels. We will now have a 10-minute break to clear the floor, Naruto shouts. Scene break. What do you think so far, Hiruzen says. Naruto pushes his mask into the shadows of his hood, before slipping a cigarette in and lights it. Our Kunoichi have showed poorly so far. Saved Karin, and that's not showing much because she didn't go to the academy, Naruto replies. Hiruzen sighs with a look to the remaining genin. I would agree. I allowed the academy to change so much. Peace has changed us, he says. You can't help that. Peace has reigned and dull our swords slightly, Naruto muses. More like you could blame the civilian council. They made the academy easy so their kids could pass, and those old fossils omitted anything that would deter them. Seduction. What we ninja really do. Blooding their hands, Anko says, taking Naruto's cigarette and taking a puff. How long will you keep them alive, old man, Naruto says, and Hiruzen sighs. They are people I've known most of my life. It's not easy to make such a choice, Hiruzen says. That is why Sensei chose wrong. I've been able to work in the shadows because of your soft-hearted nature, a very familiar voice says. Hiruzen looks up with a cold look on his face. Don't do that, he says. Sorry, Gramps, but he's sorta right. Danzo managed to keep his dark secrets because you were soft on him. Same with the snake. Hell, Jiraiya too, Naruto says. I won't deny that, but Hiruzen says and shakes his head. I get it, Naruto says and looks at Anko's watch. Well, let's continue on, he adds, vaulting the railing and landing with a crouch. Alright, genin. The next match is Hinata Hyuga vs Yoroi Kato, Naruto shouts. Hinata calmly walks down as Yoroi does the same, the latter with an air of calm. Both fighters ready. Begin, Naruto declares. Hinata puts up a ram sign and her Byakugan activates, before she slips into her clan's Juken strike. Yoroi narrows his eyes and keeps on edge, but Hinata bursts forward, forcing him to block her strikes, and that was a failure. I can see you gathering chakra to hands, but that is useless before my eyes, Hinata says. Yoroi jerks as Hinata unleashes a flurry of strikes, closing his Tenketsu points with each and knocking him back. It's over. He won't get up, Hinata says, but her breath hitches, seeing Naruto's chakra. Winner Hinata Hyuga, Naruto declares. Hinata slowly returns to the upper levels with hidden look of shock. Naruto, is this Kyuketsuki, she thought. Then why was he put on our team? He is an Anbu. Could father have, Hinata thought, looking to Naruto. The next match is Shikamaru Nara vs Kintsuchi, Naruto declares. Mendakusei, Shikamaru thought, making his way down. Begin, Naruto declares. Shikamaru starts with his shadow paralysis, but Kin dodges and tosses two senbon with bells attached. Bells, he thought, looking back. Classic tactics of using the bells to distract from the hidden senbon, Shikamaru says, and Kin smirks, tossing more as Shikamaru dodges. However, Shikamaru freezes as the bells sound and he looks only to see the senbon in the wall, also strings attacked. Too late, Kin says, catching Shikamaru with two senbon. He pulls them out of his arms but freezes as his vision starts to blur. What's this, Shikamaru says, collapsing to his knees. Ha ha ha. That's what happens to those who hear my bells. The sound vibration emitted by these special bells directly attacks the brain from the eardrum and causing one to hallucinate, Kin says, and Shikamaru covers his ears. It's useless. You can't escape this, she adds, as multiple versions of her appear. Damn it. Which is the real one, Shikamaru thought, but cries out as senbon pierce his arms and shoulder. Kin was about to toss more senbon, but her body seizes and slowly moves. What, she says. Shikamaru slowly gets to his feet. Kajime no jutsu success, he says. How, Kin says. Shikamaru smirks slightly and looks to her string, causing Kin to gasp as the shadow expand. Shikamaru raises his right hand and Kin does the same as they toss shurikens. However, as Shikamaru ducks back, Kin slams her head into the wall and knocks herself out. Winner by knockout. Shikamaru Nara, Naruto says, checking on Kin. Let's see, all that is left is me. That sand guy, Chaji, Lee, Niji, and that sound guy, Kiba thought. The next match is Kiba Inuzuka vs Dosu Kinuta, Naruto declares. Yes. It's our turn, Kiba crows and Akamaru barks. Dosu smirks as he makes his way down. This won't take too long, he thought. Kiba pulls Akamaru out his coat as Dosu stands with a hunched stance. Begin, Naruto shouts. Kiba lowers his stance with a smirk. Let's go, Akamaru, he shouts. Beast mimicry all fours jutsu, Kiba shouts, as his features become more feral. Kiba launches forward to Dosu, but he swings his melody arm to block Kiba's strike, causing him to grin at the feral boy. Bad move, Dosu says and channels his chakra. Kiba jerks and leaps as surge of sound erupts, knocking him back with a skid, but his legs give out. Dosu quickly rushes towards Kiba as he recovers and hits him in the head with his melody arm, causing Kiba's eyes to widen. Blood come from his ears. Akamaru rushes to Kiba's side as Dosu chuckles. Call it, he says. Kiba is unable to continue. Winner Dosu Kanuta Naruto declares. Kiba rushed in without thinking. Kurenai says. What an idiot, Ino says. Big talk from someone who didn't ever fight. Hinata comments, as Mednin quickly rushed to check on Kiba. Oh man. There are strong people left, Chaji whispers. The next match is Chaji Akimichi vs Niji Hyuga. Naruto declares and Chaji freezes, looking to the former Rookie of the Year. I forfeit, Chaji shouts, shocking his teammates. He's smarter than he looks, Niji comments. Naruto sighs, but he could see Chaji's reasoning. Alright. The final match is Rock Lee vs Gaara Sabaku, he declares. Yash, it's my turn, Lee roars, with fire in his eyes. Gaara stares blankly and makes his way down via Sand Shunshin as Lee rushes down. Fighters ready, Naruto shouts and calls for them to begin. Lee slips into a Gopen stance but suddenly catches Gaara's cork. Quite rude, he says. Lee drops the cork and rushes towards Gaara with a leap into a spin. Konoha Senpu, he shouts, connecting with a kick but to a wall of sand. Lee lands and quickly backpedals as the sand attempts to capture him along the ground. The sand almost seems alive, Lee thought. He rushes towards Gaara once again with a series of punches and kicks, but the sand reacts to each of his strikes, forcing him to bring out a kunai to swipe at the sand. The sand continues to follow Lee as he dodges, forcing him to leap upward and toss several shuriken, but the sand reacts and blocks as Lee lands. Entertain me more, Lee hears and narrows his eyes. This is not enough. I need more blood, Gaara says, as the sand rushes towards Lee and grabs him as he leaps. Lee grunts as he hits a wall from being thrown by the sand and quickly dodges more of it. This is like Tenten's battle. Gaara is wrong type of opponent for Lee. He can't use ninjutsu, Naruto thought, but glances to Guy, but I'm sure Guy taught him that, he thought. Lee lands on the stone hands with a serious look on his face. This will be very tough, he thought. Lee, take them off, Guy shouts. Lee looks to his sensei with wide eyes, but you said to only do that if I needed to protect many people, he says, and Guy gives him the thumbs up. Lee smiles and rolls down his leg warmers to reveal leg weights. Yash, I will be able so much more freely, he says, rising up. You think taking off some weights will help, Temari thought, but gawks, as the weights shattering the ground with a big dust up. Everyone but Naruto were in complete shock at the display. Now that is too much, Naruto thought. Go Lee, Guy shouts and Lee vanishes. Gaara gasps as Lee appears in front of him with a right through his sand, but Lee vanishes again, blitzing him from all sides as the sand can't keep up. Temari and Kankuro gasp as Gaara struck in his cheek, before being blitzed again and knocked away. This is bad, Temari thought. Gaara slowly rises to his feet as sand continues to pool around him, but Lee gasps as sand falls from the redhead's face, revealing a wide and sadistic grin. So he covered himself in sand as armor, Naruto thought. Lee loosens the bandages around his hands, before vanishing and kicking Gaara upwards with a series of kicks. Impressive, many thought. Lee winces in pain as Gaara's armor breaks and wraps him in his bandages, then grabs him into a spin towards the ground. Amot Renge, Lee shouts, crashing them into the ground and creating medium-sized spider web crack. Lee leaps out of the smoke as it clears to reveal Gaara laying motionless. I got him, he says. Naruto approaches but smirks as Gaara break down into sand, causing the Konoha Genin to gasp in shock. The sand rises behind Lee to reveal Gaara with a dark laugh as the sand rises and attacks Lee, knocking him around several times. Lee's nearly at his limit. I wonder if he'll use it, Naruto thought, and could Guy explaining things to the Genin. Gaara licks his lips with a sinister look on his face as Lee continues to dodge with heavy breathing. Such meaningless movements, Gaara sneers, sending his sand and Lee driving Lee into the floor. The sand forms a fist, but suddenly Lee starts to dodge Gaara's attack once again, causing Naruto to smirk behind his mask. So he did teach you that, Naruto thought, and here Lee can open 5 gates. Yufu, show me your metal, Rock Lee, he thought. Music need to be strong, Naruto ost. Lee crosses his arms over his chest as the air seems to heat up around him as his skin turns red and blue chakra wafts off his body. Hachiman semen. Kai, Lee thought, the ground cracking up him. Lee's pupils are no longer visible as the ground cracks further and pieces lift off the ground, but he lowers his stance. Hachiman shaman. Kai, he thought. Naruto activates his Sharingan as Lee launches forward, shattering the ground in his wake and kicking Gaara in the chin. The air around them is violently disturbed as dust rises in a forming cloud, while Gaara emerges above with his sand armor cracking more and more. Where's Lee? Ino shouts. Lee appear above Gaara with a punch and creates a small shockwave, before appear behind with another minor shockwaves. Lee blitzes Gaara from all sides using the walls and ceiling as springboards to attack him. What? My sand armor is being torn away, Gaara thought, pinballing between Lee's attack. Naruto narrows his eyes as he could hear Lee's muscles being torn with every movement. Fool to go this far, he thought. Hachim and Taman. Kai Lee thought, opening the fifth gate as blood runs down his nose. Gaara's eyes were wide as Lee closes in on him. Impossible to defend myself. Is he human? He thought. Lee vanishes and connects with a blow to Gaara's stomach, sending him plummeting to the arena floor, but he nearly folds backwards as Lee pulls him back with his bandages. Watch me, Niji. I was saving this for you. See it now and what's to come, Lee thought. Urarenge Lee roars, connecting with a punch and kick. The ground buckles as both land with a kick up of dust and debris, causing everyone to cover their eyes. The dust cloud slowly dissipates with Lee not far away from Gaara, who was laying on a bed of sand. Gaara reaches out his hand slowly with gritted teeth as the sand moves, causing Lee to attempt to move, but his body is racked with pain. The sand creeps closer and closer as Lee tries to move. I forfeit, Lee shouts. Song ends, scene break. Gaara ignores Lee's pleas and continues forward with his sand, but Naruto appears in the path. The match is over. Enough, Naruto says. Gaara slowly rises to his feet with a blank look. Not until I kill him, he hisses. Did you not hear my rules earlier? If I call the match, it's over, but if you break that rule, Naruto says and starts leaking his ki. Gaara clutches his head as a voice screams for him to kill Naruto, but their sensei Baki appears behind Gaara. Enough, Gaara, he says. You should keep your genin on a leash, Naruto says and clear his throat. The preliminaries are now over. All winning genin come down, he adds. Anko and Ibiki approach Naruto to stand on each side of him as Hiruzen stands behind them. Congratulations on passing to the final round of the Chunin exams. I turn things back to Lord Third and return to the shadows. Do well to entertain us, Naruto says, vanishing before their eyes. As Kyu Katsuki said. I will now explain the rules for the third and final round of the Chunin exams. Hiruzen states. Scene break. Tenten slowly opens her eyes but groans in pain. Where am I? She whispers, looking around but remembers her defeat at Temari's hand. Temari was a bad opponent for you, a voice muses. Tenten slowly sits up with a groan to see Naruto appearing out of the shadows, with his Anbu mask on, but he removes it. What did I miss? Tenten asks. Niji got a forfeit win to Chaji and Lee lost to Gaara. Naruto replies and takes a seat. Lee even used the gates and ripped his muscles but still lost. Like you, a bad opponent, he adds. Tenten grits her teeth and sighs. Gai-sensei must be upset about Lee, she whispers. He is. Lee tore himself apart and will be out of commission for a long time, Naruto says. Tenten looks at the bandages on her body but then to Naruto. So what will you do now, he asks. I don't know, Tenten says. Perhaps bite the forbidden apple, Naruto says, waving his hand and now holding an apple. Forbidden apple, Tenten questions. Naruto takes a slow bite of the apple. Do you remember the conversation we had at your parents' shop about my bloodline, he says, after swallowing. I didn't say anything, Tenten says, and Naruto grins. But you thought it, and yes, my bloodline can be passed to others. In fact, I've passed it on to 4 people, Naruto says, and Tenten narrows her eyes. That Proctor and Kurenai sensei, Tenten says, and Naruto I smiles. Also Kiba's older sister and an Anbu named Neko. The 4 of them knew my mother, Naruto explains, and Tenten gasps, as the white of Naruto's eyes bleed black. His blue eyes start to glow and Naruto opens his mouth to show 2 rows of razor-sharp teeth. I'm no longer human, Panda. I am a creature that haunts the dreams of men. I've become the demon the matrons used to call me. However, I gained power as the no-life dupe bestowed upon me by the man who gave the last of his life to me, he says. Tenten stares at Naruto with flickering dark eyes and the blonde simply eye smiles once again. I also know about the dreams, he says, and her breath hitches. My queens have been haunting your dreams and guiding you towards this conclusion. Where you would possibly ask that question. I don't fault them for it, but I prefer not force someone into this, Naruto says and pauses to look her in the eye. If you take the forbidden apple, you would gain power, but you could no longer remain a part of Team Guy. You couldn't stay with your parents. You would see them. Guy, Lee and Niji as your next meal, Naruto adds. The room soon devolves into silence with only Tenten's breathing for ambiance. She starts, but Naruto covers her mouth with his right hand. Take the month. Do not take this forbidden apple thoughtlessly. Put aside the dreams. Put aside the words. If that is your desire to have real power, Naruto says and pulls his hand, rising to his feet. Naruto bites the apple once again as he back into shadows as it accents his glowing blue eyes. Will you live as a human or live as a monster, he says. Vanishing into the shadows and leaving Tenten alone. And guys, this is the end. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Peace.